Sirese's Pieces. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Sirese's Pieces. So excited to be with you guys again. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. We are up to episode 23. Say something. Oh yes, I'm so excited about this one. And don't forget that you can check out the full message on Monday's motivations from this past Monday with Percia's podcast. So let's get right to it. Okay, we're talking about say something, and you're like, what are you talking about with this? Well, you ever hear the saying, see something, say something? And a lot of times you'll hear that saying in an airport or a train station or somewhere where there's just heavy traffic and a lot of mobility. And that term, say something, see something, is used if someone sees something odd or if someone sees something suspicious or alarming. Unfortunately, we live in a world today where things just happen, and you've got to make sure that you're on alert for the protection of yourself and the other people around you. So I want to use that saying and kind of turn it inwardly. Say something, see something about yourself. And I want to give you 3 things to help you say something when you see something, okay? So stay with me here, because there are 2 ways that we're gonna actually look at this. You can look at these in a good or bad sense, and we're gonna kind of go over both of those very briefly. Again, this is just the condensed visual message, the very condensed visual message of Percia's podcast. So I hope you guys get a piece out of Sirese's Pieces. So number 1, when we're talking about say something, I'm talking about something that you see within yourself. So number 1 is know something, that you've got to actually know something is going on. And what am I talking about? Well, you guys, many of you know the story of Jonah and the whale. God gave him an assignment, and he did everything he could to run from it. And eventually he ended up right back where God wanted him, fulfilling the assignment that God gave him. And that's where I want you guys to go with this see something, say something. On the good end, many of us have been given an assignment by God, or have been called to something, or we know that there's something that we've been asked to do, and we've been running and avoiding and trying not to say something. On the bad side of things, some of us have experienced situations that have been tragic or hurtful or disappointing, and we have buried it down deep so that we don't have to acknowledge it or say something. So that's why I'm saying you can look at this from 2 sides. Only you know what really applies to you, so you can take what you need from that. So number 1, if you're dealing with this, you need to know it. You need to be able to confess it and understand what exactly happened. What is it that God has called you to do? What is it that has happened to you in the past that you have been avoiding? Number 2 is feel something. This is probably the hardest part about all of it. When God has called you to do something, many times we have gotten a glimpse, and we can even feel the burning and the passion even when other people mention it to us. And sometimes if we're running from it, it disturbs our very soul. Same thing on the other side. If we have been burying pain because of things that we don't want to acknowledge from the past that we've never been healed from, we will bury it down deep. And I encourage you that sometimes we need to feel again, because we need to feel that pain to know that it's there, so that we can receive the proper healing. You know how they say you can't get healed from something until you actually embrace it and admit it. And many times things do get worse before they get better. And the last thing to help you say something when you see something about yourself, when you see something odd or out of the order or suspicious or telling, and you don't want to acknowledge it, you need to. Many of us are ignoring the signs in our own bodies when we see something odd, or when we see something out of order, or when we see something that is just sticking out and we're like just ignoring it. We need to, number 3, acknowledge it. After you know something and you feel something, you need to acknowledge that something. You need to say, okay, I feel the pain. I know that I need to dig deeper, and I acknowledge that I do still need healing, that I'm still hurting from this situation, that I'm still unforgiving, that I'm still resentful or bitter from this situation. If you don't acknowledge that, you cannot receive the full healing that you need, and that actually ties into you being able to walk into the full purposes that God has for you. You need to acknowledge that God has sent you an assignment or called you to do something, or even if it's not that deep, you just know that there's something that you're supposed to do, and you've been ignoring it and you've been avoiding it, and it's time for you to acknowledge it. This is why I say, when you see something, say something. Not in the world, not in the public, but in yourself. When you see something that is just flashing catching a sign, whether it's good or bad, do not ignore it. Begin to know it, begin to feel it, and begin to acknowledge it. So I hope you guys got a piece out of Sirece's pieces today with episode 23, Say Something. And again, don't forget to check out the condensed visual message on Percia's podcast, available on iTunes. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll be back again next Saturday with another Saturday's Sirece's Pieces. See you guys. It's Percia Production.